This is Italy, the country of pizza, pasta, and Mario. But about 50,000 years ago, the territory of Italy only began to be populated. It was originally inhabited by Neanderthals. Modern men came to Italian territory during the Upper Paleolithic. The name Italy is come from the region of the small people of Itos or Italians who lived on these territories. One of the peoples of the Apennine Peninsula were the Ligurs and the Etruscans, who lived here. Later, the Gauls kicked Ligurs and Etruscans out and settled in Italy. But soon the Romans came and said, "Surrender!" No. Okay, sorry. In the 3rd century BC, Rome faced the powerful city-state of Carthage. In the 3 Punic Wars, Carthage was eventually destroyed and Rome gained control over Hispania, Sicily, and North Africa. After defeating the Macedonian and Seleucid empires in the 2nd century BC, the Rome became the dominant state of the Mediterranean Sea. By this time, Rome was a powerful empire and had no major enemies. In the mid-1st century BC, the Republic faced a period of political crisis and social unrest. The First Triumvirate was formed, but it lasted not long, and Julius Caesar established a dictatorship in Rome. But then he was assassinated. Octavius, along with General Mark Antony and Marcus Aemilius Lepidus, established the Second Triumvirate. But after some battles, Octavianus became the sole ruler of Rome. By that time, empire, not the republic. Augustus' rule resulted in a 200 years long peaceful and thriving era for the empire known as Pax Romana. The Romans conquered Britain and Dacia. The Roman Empire was at its greatest exist. After the death of Emperor Theodosius I, the empire was divided into an Eastern and a Western Roman Empire. The western part faced increasing economic and political crises and barbarian invasions. In 476, the last Western Emperor, Romulus Augustulus, was deposed by Odoacer. Odoacer's rule came to an end when the Ostrogoths conquered Italy. Decades later, the armies of Eastern Emperor Justinian entered Italy, but in 751, the Lombards kicked all the Byzantium out of Italy. Facing a new Lombard offensive, the papacy appealed to the Franks for aid. In 756, Frankish forces defeated the Lombards and gave the papacy control over huge territories in Italy. The oligarchic city-state became the prevalent form of government. Many independent city-states prospered through commerce based on early capitalist principles. Italy saw the rise of the maritime republics. The two most powerful of them were Venice and Genoa. From the 10th to the 13th century, these cities built fleets of ships both for their own protection and to support trade networks across the Mediterranean. Venice and Genoa soon became Europe's main gateways to trade with the East. In the 14th century, Italy was the main center of the Renaissance, which influenced all of Europe. The foreign invasions of Italy, known as the Italian Wars, began with 1944 invasion by France. But after several defeats, with the peace of Catu Cambresis, France renounced all its claims in Italy. In the 17th century, Italy was the main center of the Counter-Reformation, the Catholic reaction against the Protestant Reformation. In 1796, the French army of Italy under Napoleon invaded Italy with the aims of forcing the First Coalition to abandon Sardinia and forcing Austria to withdraw from Italy. Within only 2 weeks, Victor Amadeus III of Sardinia signed an armistice. On 15th of May, the French general then entered Milan, where he was welcomed as a liberator. Napoleon conquered most of Italy in the name of the French Revolution in 1799. He consolidated old units and split up Austria's holdings, has set up a series of new republics, completed the new codes of law and abolition of old feudal privileges. In 1809, Bonaparte occupied Rome, for contrast with the Pope, who had excommunicated him, and to maintain his own state efficiently, exiling the Pope first to Savona and then to France. In 1814, the Congress of Vienna divided Italy between Austria, the Kingdom of Sardinia, the Kingdom of the Two Sicilies, and Tuscany. the Papal States, and other minor states in the center. After the revolutions of 1848, the apparent leader of the Italian unification movement was Italian nationalist Giuseppe Garibaldi. He was popular among southern Italians. Garibaldi led the Italian Republican drive for unification in southern Italy, but the Kingdom of Piedmont-Sardinia also wanted to create a united Italian state. The kingdom had successfully beaten Austria in the Second Italian War of Independence, liberating Lombardy, Venetia from Austrian rule. The Kingdom of Sardinia gave Savoy and Nice to France. It also had important alliances such as Britain and France in the Crimean War. Italy became a nation-state on the 17th of March 1861, when most of the states of the peninsula were united under King Victor Emmanuel II. In 1866, Prussian Prime Minister Otto von Bismarck offered Victor Emmanuel II an alliance with the Kingdom of Prussia in the Austro-Prussian War. King Emmanuel agreed to the alliance and the Third Italian War of Independence began. The victory against Austria allowed Italy to annex Venice. The one major obstacle to Italian unity remained Rome. In 1870, France started the Franco-Prussian War and brought home its soldiers in Rome, where they had kept the Pope in power. Italy marched to take over the Papal State. Italian unification was completed, and the capital was moved from Florence to Rome. In the end of the 19th century, Italy created its own colonial empire. It took control of Somalia and Eritrea. Its attempt to occupy Ethiopia failed in the First Italo-Ethiopian War of 1895 to 1896. In 1911, Italy declared war on the Ottoman Empire, which held Libya. Italy soon conquered and annexed Tripoli and the Dodecanese Islands. Before the World War I, in Europe were two main alliances, Entente and the Triple Alliance. Italy was in the Triple Alliance with Germany and Austria. After the Great War began, for 6 months Italy remained neutral. Entente gave very big promises to Italy, and after that Italy switched sides and entered the war in the spring 1915, but the Italians weren't prepared. Italy wasn't able to do much, as fighting raged for 3 years on a very narrow front along the Isonzo River, where the Austrians held the high ground. But in 1918, the Great War ended and Italy was on the winner's side. Italy received South Tyrol, Istria, and Zara, but did not receive other territories promised by the Treaty of London, so this was called as a mutilated victory. In 1924, the Benito Mussolini, leader of the fascist party, took power in Italy and established a dictatorship. He signed the Lateran Accord, a treaty that created the tiny Vatican City inside Rome. Mussolini promised to bring back Italy as a great power in Europe, building a new Roman Empire. Soon Italy forced Albania to become a protectorate. In 1935, Mussolini invaded Ethiopia. After its victory, fascist Italy was isolated, so Mussolini decided to leave the League of Nations. Mussolini had to join Germany in international politics, and he abandoned Austria to German Reich. Under the influence of Germany, Mussolini established an anti-Semitic racial laws in Italy. In March 1939, Mussolini decided to occupy Albania to avoid becoming second in the Axis. In May 1939, Italy and Germany signed the Pact of Steel. Italy entered the World War II on 10th of June 1940. On October 28, 1940, Italy declared war on the Kingdom of Greece. On April 6, 1941, on Yugoslavia. On June 22, 1941, Italy, together with the Axis countries, attacked the USSR. On December 11, 1941, Italy, together with Germany, declared war on the United States. Italian troops took part in the battles in the south of France, North Africa, Greece, Yugoslavia, and on the Eastern Front against the USSR. During the period from 1940 to 1943, parts of the territories of France, Yugoslavia, and Greece were under Italian occupation. By 1943, Italy has lost all of its colonies in Africa, as well as Sicily. Soon, Italian fascist leader Benito Mussolini was arrested. The new Italian government entered into a truce with the United States and Great Britain. In September 1943, Germany occupied northern and central Italy. Mussolini was liberated by German troops. On September 23, 1943, the Italian Social Republic was proclaimed in the German-occupied Italian territories, which continued the war until its collapse in 1945. After the war, Italy lost these territories. The new king feared the new civil war and called a constitutional referendum to decide whether Italy should remain a monarchy or become a republic. On 2nd of June 1946, the Republican side won 54% of the vote and Italy officially became a republic. Italy joined the Marshall Plan and NATO, and during the Cold War stayed on the US side. By 1950, the economy had largely stabilized and started booming. In 1957, Italy was a founding member of the European Economic Community, which later transformed into the European Union. In 1992, during the political crisis, in Italy was formed the Second Republic, which remains today. That was the full history of Italy. Bye.